Hey everyone, we're going to do another tool review here. Um, so this is the Milwaukee M12 3/8 stapler. Model number is 2447-20. So on this little guy, it basically is built to shoot the T50 staples. Pretty cool. You don't see, these aren't nearly as common in the cordless or pneumatic versions even as like the narrow and wide crown staples. So I do have an air one that I've had for a while. So I wanted to try to start converting to cordless from my air tools, from my nailers and staplers. Um, Found this one on a good sale, picked it up. I think normally it goes for like 100 or 150 bucks. I don't know. This is kind of probably the one M12 tool that I have not been super excited with, or super impressed with, I should say. So the first thing is this adjustment wheel. It's super tight and it it feels like it goes forever. I don't know how many actual clicks it has, but I mean it felt like I was turning it forever. I just kept turning it up and up and up and up and up, trying to get more power because it was leaving them proud. So I'll show you that here in a minute. But I will say, I mean, you know, you can't beat having the cordless variety over like the corded, not having to drag out a compressor and air hose, all that. If you're working somewhere, like I did a bunch of insulation with the air one up in the attic, so now I got to get either tons of hose up to the attic, or I ended up getting a smaller compressor that I put up there with me. So this would have been great for that, but the first thing is just the size, and this is the trade-off with any of these cordless nailers and staplers. If you look at it compared to my cordless one, I mean, it's quite a bit longer in length there. Not only length, the weight. I don't know what the weight is off the top of my head, but I mean, this thing is considerably heavier. And because you're holding it all the way at the back here, it wants to fall so bad out of your hand. So I'm not really a fan of that. The height's pretty similar. The height's actually a little bit shorter than my air one, so I guess that's nice. The width is also pretty similar. I don't know how well we can see that. Um, Pretty much the same. I would say the big difference is the weight and the width this way. Belt hook's awesome. It hangs really nice on it. I do love that. I wish that's the one thing I cannot find a pneumatic T50 stapler that has a belt hook. I've seen ones you can add, but then if I do that, it won't fit in the case that I keep it in. So it's pretty simple though. Loading it, just a release, put the staples in, close it. The ones I'm shooting today are the Aero T50 9/16, so they're pretty much, I think, as big as this can shoot, because I want to show kind of what it does. But the biggest disappointment I've had with it is just how finicky it is as far as leaving them proud. What I've noticed is I'll try to show it here, if you don't have it perfectly flat on the workpiece, if you have it at all like that or like that, it leaves it proud every time. And that gets annoying because the reality is a lot of places you're stapling, you know, you're over your head, you're around a rafter, a stud or something, and you can't see it all the time, and it's hard to, you know, always get it perfectly flush. Never have that problem with my Air one. That thing's got plenty of power. It sinks it no problem at all. So yeah, that's kind of the big thing. I haven't had a jam or anything like that. I haven't put many staples through it, probably a couple hundred compared to probably over 1,000 in my Air one here. But it's enough to certainly, you know, feel like I've gotten a good feel for it. I'm just not super impressed. But before we go to that, I'll show you the two different functions. This is kind of a well hidden unless you really read the manual on it. So the first way you can shoot it is individual. So you depress the trigger or the safety, and then squeeze the trigger and it'll shoot one. So pushed, squeezed, and you can see it did shoot it. It left it just a hair proud, but good enough. The other way, and it's kind of weird because it's going to make a noise, I can squeeze the trigger first, and then as soon as I depress that tip, it'll shoot again. So this would be like your sequential mode. Yeah, so it times out. So if you don't squeeze the trigger and push it relatively fast, it'll time out. But with that, you can see it's much harder to get them to sink all the way. Every single one was left proud. I don't know how much you can see that, maybe a 16th of an inch, something like that. So that's kind of frustrating, but I'll show you the difference here on this side. So we'll shoot a couple single shot. And now we'll do sequential after this. You've got to really hold a lot of pressure there, really take your time, make sure it's perfectly flush on the material. So here we go. So the ones I did single, they are pretty much flush. They're not too bad. The ones I did sequential, it's kind of 50-50. If we compare that to the air, now this is only single shot. It doesn't have a sequential mode, but not, I mean, power for days. I mean, they're all actually sunk a little too far. Probably turn my air down a little bit. Now, again, there's no depth adjustment on the air one, but I can adjust the air pressure, which will take care of that. But I got to say, I love the idea of getting rid of the cord and the compressor and the air hose, but this is a little disappointing. I feel like with all my other M12 tools, they've got tons of power, not a problem at all with power-wise. This is just, it's a little lacking. And again, you know, single shot, I mean, you can do it. The sequential starts to get a little questionable, I think. The big thing is, you know, I feel like I don't want to have to think that hard, right? I don't want to have to every single, as I'm trying to hold up insulation or chicken wire or whatever the heck you're stapling, right? Upholstery. I don't necessarily want to have to think that hard, okay? Because this thing's heavy, right? If you're doing a lot of overhead, this is going to get kind of tiring quick. I don't want to have to sit there and go, you know, oh shoot, I'm off by a little bit. It's not going to sink it perfectly. The other thing that I think is just weird, you know, most nailers and staplers, the tip sticks out, right, from the front of the stapler. So that's all you have to do is just to press that tip, right? With this, you basically have to make sure the entire thing is flush with the workpiece. So I have to go and basically have it completely flush. So if you don't have that as a guide, like let's say you're nailing sideways or something, it's much easier to be off a little bit there like that. So take that out, check it out. Like I said, is it nice not having the cord? Absolutely. I just had to staple some fence posts, some signs, no trespassing signs. You know, it was great for that, not having to run all around with a compressor and everything. So I don't necessarily know if I'm going to get rid of it, but I was definitely disappointed for the price, the weight. I just think it's inconsistent. It's very, and I think it's user error. I think if you can line it up perfectly every time, it'll do it. But I kind of don't really want to have to think that hard about it, as you know, silly as that may sound. And just the weight. I mean, this thing is so light, so small. I can fit it in a lot more places. You know, so yeah. Milwaukee M12 3/8 stapler, model number 2447-20. Thanks. Have a good day.